Hello. Yes, I'm here. So I'm not looking at the chat right now. I hope we've got people, but I'm going to get started with our roundup for today, Friday, October 14th. And the first part of that is always to go over some stats. You know, I like to do that because I like numbers. So let me get my share screen ready for you. I hope everyone has had a great week. Let me take the gum out of my mouth. And let's get rid of these banners. I'll leave that one. Well, no, let's take that off and let's take this off. All right. So comparing week over week, I'll just make this a big size. Runneth Over Garden and Life. This is one of our channel members. I have Dr. Lund in the green room already. So hi there, Dr. Lund. Runneth Over Garden and Life. They were at 708 subscribers last Friday. They are at 718 today. Woman Outdoors was at 920 last week, 933 today. Ordered Steps, holding on to that 193 subscribers, so that's good. Still want to see her numbers climb. Mind Forked was at 240 subscribers last Friday. She is at 243 today. Multi Hunter 24/7 was at 512 last week. He is at 531 today. Mud and Mascara Homestead. Here's the classic YouTube takebacks here. She was at 319 subscribers last Friday. She's at 307 today. This is just the little reminder about how to subscribe so that it'll stick according to YouTube's sort of rules or expectations. Hey, Janet Homestead, where you are, how are you? And hi, Johnny K. Very nice to have both of you with me today. So just want to remind you again, when you want to subscribe to show support to a channel, be sure that you watch a video that's at least 3 minutes long before you click that subscribe button. I always watch a couple of videos, or I start a playlist and watch some videos in the playlist before I hit subscribe. Leave a comment and like the video. All of those things indicate to YouTube that you really are engaged with the channel, that you really do want to support the channel, that you're not a robot, a computer bot. And a lot of times people will be on a live stream, or they'll see, or you'll see their name in a shout out in a community tab or on other social media. And a bunch of people will go and subscribe to the channel to help them grow, but they don't watch any videos and they don't make any regular visits to the channel. So over time, YouTube takes those subscriptions away. And of course, there are bots out there. I don't understand the purpose of it, but there are bots that will like videos and subscribe to channels and even view videos, but they're not legitimate. And obviously in this day and age, there are lots of tools to help YouTube and other, social media platforms determine what's legit and what's not. So keep that in mind. And let's get Tiffany's numbers back up at Mud and Mascara Homestead, but let's be sure we do it the way that that's going to stick for her. And I think I just saw Nina come in. Hi, Nina at Runneth Over Garden and Life. Hello, Crafty Veteran. What a nice thing to see you in my chat. And I'm guessing you are maybe a military veteran. If you want to put a little note in the comment, I'm happy to see you here. I'm always tickled when I see some new names in my chat. But let's get back to the list. Byron at 12 Stones Ranch. Again, this is a neighbor. So Nina and Boyce are Texas neighbors of ours. Byron is a Texas neighbor of ours. And I say neighbor, they may be within an hour and a half to 4 or 5 hours from us, but the state is so big anyway that we just know even that distance really doesn't mean too much, because you could drive 2 or 3 times that amount of time and still be in Texas, depending on where you start. So Byron at 12 Stones Ranch was at 1,970 something last Friday. He's at 1,960 something. He met a lot of people when he went to the Pinecone Fest a few weekends ago. He was part of the Last Chance Cook-Off collaboration. So there were many, many opportunities to network his channel and connect with people, which is why you see that amazing jump in support and subscribers. But again, as I said before, some people subscribe, and it's a great little boost for a little while. But then if they don't engage with the channel after that, those subscriptions don't stay. And even I find myself sometimes, if I have neglected to visit a channel in a couple of weeks, even I'll go back to check and see if they have new content, and I'll notice I'm not subscribed anymore. So it's not a deliberate thing that people do, but you do have to show true engagement and connection and support for the subscription numbers to hold steady. Our new land, Devin and Ryan up in Oklahoma. They're actually Texas neighbors, but they bought this property up in Oklahoma. They were at 541 subscribers last Friday. They are at 551 today. Jesse and Lisa at Lazy Days Ahead, the mod father that you see everywhere all at one time, monitoring and watching over many a live stream pretty much every day and night. They were at 1,141 subscribers last Friday, and they're at 1,100. Well, I say 1,141. I don't know what the last digit really is. They're at 1,150 something today. Ginger at Not For Nothing Homestead. She was at 251 subscribers last Friday. She's at 263 today. What the Flock was at 340 subscribers last week. She's at 341 today. First Floor Audio was at 563 subscribers last Friday. He is at 569 today. Mayfield Ranch, Katie, that was my guest a few weeks ago, was at 365 subscribers last week, and she's at 373 subscribers today. Rich at Rich New Design was at 254 subscribers last week. He's at 273 today. And Jeff and Lorena at Back to Country Homestead were at 443 subscribers last Friday. They're at 455 today. That brings us to our next little sheet of channels. Oh, that's too big. All right. So Brittany was with us from RB Story, Ronnie and Brittany, a couple of Fridays ago. Was that last Friday? Yeah, I guess that was last Friday. She was at 354 subscribers on that day. She's at 350 today. So she, was climbing there, and she's lost a little handful of subscribers. Ashley at CNC Farm was also a guest on last Friday's show. She was at 226 subscribers that day. She's at 304 today. I just want to point out that when I announced that she would be on the show back on the 30th of September, she only had 129 subscribers. I know she's done several interviews with other channels, so it really does make a difference to get yourself out there and put your channel name in front of people. Let people meet you, see who's behind the videos. Obviously, some of you have videos and you're in all of those videos, so it's easy for us to kind of just see who you are, what your personality is like, what your energy level is like, and the way you sound, the way you present information. Not everyone has a channel like that, but I think it makes a huge difference when people can actually meet the creator beyond just watching their videos, because I firmly believe that if people like you, they will support your channel regardless of what your videos might be about. So I know I've got a little handful of channels that I just really, really like the person, or at least how they come across to me. And so it makes me really excited to be a part of their channel and help them grow and spread the word and get their message out to more people. So I want to go back and see if Crafty Veteran has indicated if he is a military veteran. I always associate that name with the military. Okay, so I know your dad is a veteran. So Crafty Veteran is John at Home Bartending with John's son. And hello, Brittany. So Brittany from, I'm guessing this is Brittany from RB Story, Ronnie and Brittany. She's here. Dr. Lund is in the chat. Again, I have her in the green room. And I'm pretty sure I saw, yes. So John is here. Did that link work for you, John? Or do I need to post it in the chat? And yes, so Crafty Veteran is a veteran also. Thank you for your service. Right, I don't want to miss anyone as they come in. I wish I could tell y'all to holler at me if somebody comes in that I don't see and greet, because I really do like to greet everyone. So back to my list. So let's again keep in mind the proper way to show support for a channel so that that content creator doesn't lose your support just because of the goofy YouTube algorithms and things. Um, did you get the second link I posted or that I emailed to you, John? Because I think I accidentally sent you the wrong link before. So I'm going to post the link right here in the chat. And I think I did that once before. And I think what happens is when I entered the studio, I was not in the studio for this live stream. I was in the studio for another live stream that's on my list for some upcoming things. So that link that I just posted in the chat, John, is the one you'll actually use so that I can bring you up in this live stream. I think I sent you the wrong one. I did send you a second email, but it was after the fact, so you may not have seen it. All right, and back to my list. So today we have on the show, I think, a really interesting combination of content creators. We have John from Home Bartending with John, and now he's in my green room. So yes, this worked. And then we have Dr. Lund from Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund. So we're going to have a fun time today, and we're going to cover a lot of ground as far as content with these two visitors today. And the only thing I want to do now is spin my wheel, my channel of the week wheel. And I just decided, because it was really, I don't mean to sound lazy, but it was too much work to have to go through and look at everybody's channel individually. And I like to wait until as close to time for this stream as possible, because if someone hasn't posted since Sunday, I had not been putting them on the list. But last week was a great example of a couple of channels that I didn't put on the list because they hadn't posted anything since, Thursday or Friday the week before. And then lo and behold, later in, the day, I didn't see them when I looked a couple of hours before the stream, but then they did post something, within an hour or so of showtime. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put all the channels that I subscribe to on my wheel. Now, the disclaimer there is that I don't have all these live stream eagle cams. I've shared with you guys before. I watch probably almost 40 bald eagle nest live stream cams. Now, a handful of those are lost this year because Hurricane Ian took them out. So my 3 of my Florida nests that are among my favorite nests, because they're some of the first ones I discovered when I started watching. Those nests are gone. Harriet and M15 in Fort Myers are building a new nest, and there are photographers that stop by the property frequently to get pictures, but the cameras were destroyed. The nest was blown completely out of the nest tree. If I understand correctly, they are rebuilding in the same tree where the nest was before, and that tree looks to be firm and safe and healthy, but there won't be a live stream camera on it now. It's against the law to interfere with eagle nests or be within a certain distance of them during nesting season. So there's no way to get a camera up now because nesting season has already started. So we'll just have to cross our fingers and hope that this nest works out and that we get some eaglets. And then during the off season, once the eaglets fledge next summer, we'll have to hope that cameras can be reinstalled on the tree. So if you're not a fan of the Southwest Florida eagles, that's my little heart nest, the first one I ever came across. I've been watching about 7 years now, I think. And I'm just thankful for these photographers and videographers that are making regular trips to the tree to get footage for us. So let's spin our wheel just to see who our channel of the week is. So this is not limited anymore to you had to post a long content video. This can be you streamed something since Sunday, you posted a short since Sunday, or you posted a long form video. And it's partly just to introduce you maybe to some channels that are new to you, just to kind of broaden your, YouTube experience. And hello, Chuck. I'm guessing, I always guess that's Chuck. Hi, Chuck from Life with Linda and Chuck. And here comes the spin. We'll see what comes up. Coupon Gail. All right. Sometimes she's in my chat. This is actually the second channel for Gail's Southern Living. Very active channel. She does a lot of live streams. She does a lot of collaborations, a lot of varied content, but worth checking out because you're guaranteed to find something that you will enjoy, something that you can use. You'll learn something in a lot of the videos, and she's just a very personable and genuine person. So what you see on the screen is just really pleasant. So you'll have a good time checking out her channel. All right, I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to just close it. And for those of you that were watching yesterday during our stream to select the movies for the 12 Days of Halloween, I realized so when I watched the video back afterward and I kept saying, I don't know why that's still on there. I removed it. I didn't remove it. I just clicked close. So my apologies for those of you that had to watch me respin or, complain because I thought that movie shouldn't have come up again in a spin because it had already come up. That was user error for sure. And let's see. I'm going to leave this up so that I can put that channel name on there. I'll just change my color and size after a while. But the channels of the week so far that have come up since I started doing that are Unidentified S4, Canadian Fishing Musician, and Good Mythical Morning. So again, you guys will get a little glimpse into what my subscription list looks like. It's pretty eclectic. And I just, again, decided I would include everything except all of these Eagle Cam live streams. But if you are looking for a recommendation, obviously, again, the Southwest Florida nest is my favorite. But if there's a part of the country where you're wondering if there might be an eagle nest near you and whether or not that nest has a live stream, send me a message and I can hook you up. All right, so let's minimize this and stop sharing my screen. And I am going to bring John from Home Bartending with John up on the screen with me. How are you?
Good, you? Thanks
I'm good. Tell me where you are geographically first.
Michigan.
Is it snowing?
No.
Oh, that's Wisconsin, maybe.
Yeah.
So Dr. Lund. Okay. So Dr. Lund is in Wisconsin, and she sent me a video. I might play that for y'all here in a bit. It's snowing in Wisconsin today.
They can keep it over there for now.
Okay, you can have it, Vicki. It's all yours. Yeah. So we thought we were getting fall here. Maybe this past weekend. Nice to cool temperatures, and it's still really, really cool overnight for me. I mean, I say cool like 55 or 60. But now we're back. A couple days ago, it was 93 or 94 degrees. And today it's supposed to be close to 90 again, even though this morning and up until a couple of hours ago, it was so cool in the house. I had to have on long sleeves and a sweater and socks. And I was just thinking, oh, yes, finally. But the way it works down here, we're still going to get some 90-degree temperatures between now and Christmas. That's just Texas weather. So thank you for agreeing to be on the show. I'm excited that you're on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We went over your numbers. I don't know if you were watching when we went over your numbers, but you've gained a little handful of subscribers already since I first talked to you about being a guest.
Yeah.
So I would love to see the numbers continue to climb. And I can tell you that I never even considered that there might be like a bartending channel on YouTube until I met you in Tuber Chat and checked out your channel. So kudos for thinking of something that's not so common. Like there's so many gaming channels, and even now there's so many homesteading channels, and there's so many law channels. But I was tickled to meet somebody that has a bartending channel. So I usually go through a little list of questions, and then we'll just let you tell us about yourself or the channel or projects and things that are coming up. And my first question is, what motivated you to start your channel?
For the most part, it was my son, Crafty Veteran.
Okay.
Because I'd had a video on there from years back. It was of them at an amusement thing. Basically, I put it on there so that way they could get a link to it. And I looked at it because he'd started his channel, and he'd been telling me that maybe that's something I should do. And I actually looked on there and seen I had like 7 or 8 followers. I was like, "Are you kidding?" And it surprised me. And I thought, well, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
So I thought, well, if I do that, then maybe I can actually get people to watch me make drinks. You
Uh-huh.
know,
So
and
have you actually worked as a bartender at some point in your life?
no,
Okay. So did you just learn how to do this on your own? Did you read books or how did you learn?
yeah, some of it is things I've picked up along the way, but I had bartending school sent somebody to my house because I could have went to their place, but my bar's got more than most. So
Okay. So where do you go to get that set up? Who do you call to get set up? Just have somebody send something to your house or send someone to your house.
no, I started putting it together myself. I put up all the shelves, and
Okay.
I just start filling it up
Okay. Nice.
slowly
So
but surely.
do you have a favorite cocktail?
Mine is a John Daly,
Is it what?
which is it's a John Daly,
Okay.
which it's an Arnold Palmer with vodka.
Okay.
So
So what
sweet
go
sweet tea and lemonade.
Okay. And where was the first time you had that?
When I was down in Mexico, we were down there on vacation, and the beer would get so warm so quick. It's like you couldn't drink it that fast. Especially when you're out there by the pool at noon,
Uh-huh.
you know. So I loved Arnold Palmer's, and it's like, all right, well, I'll just get one of them because I'd heard of them, and I just explained to them how to make it, and that way I had ice in there, and it was nice.
All right. And beer wise, do you have a favorite beer?
I Now I'm more Miller Lite. I used to drink Budweiser, but
Okay.
I drink a lot of different beer now. Now I
Okay.
started doing more reviews. I like doing all the craft ones.
Okay.
So I've
Do they
expanded.
do is in your area, is there, like, here we have a thing called Grape Fest every year that happens in Grapevine just down the road from us, which is a lot of wineries, a lot of breweries, and we always find some new wine and or beer that we've never even heard of until whichever year we're at Grape Fest. Are there festivals and things like that near you?
Yeah, well, Grand Rapids is considered like Beer City, USA.
Okay.
There's craft beer places all over. Even my little town has a small little place that makes their own.
Okay. Have you ever
And
considered starting a brewery or a winery, or
no,
have
I
you?
like what I do.
Okay. Wine. So let's go to wine. Do you have a favorite wine or kind of?
No, that's more my wife. My
Okay.
wife's the wine drinker.
What is she like?
She likes what's it? It's called Oliver. It's a really cheap one we can get at Meyer around
Okay.
here, one of the grocery stores.
Okay.
She loves that one. It's a Moscato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually use the price tag to determine what I like.
No, she loves that one.
Yeah, try them, and if I like it, it doesn't matter to me. Now, I do
Right.
sometimes buy a wine just because it has a really neat bottle. Like it'll have a really cool label on it, or
Yeah, I do that with some liquors
yeah.
sometimes.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it's really
I'm
cool.
that way about books though too. Like I'll buy a book just because it's really got a cool looking cover on it.
Right.
And I rarely have not, or I've rarely not enjoyed a book that I read, but sometimes it's as simple as just buying the cover. While I'm thinking about it, did you want to give your son's channel a plug? What's the name of that channel?
It's a crafty veteran.
Oh, that okay. Nina, if
Yeah,
you can
he
look up that channel for me for Crafty Veteran, I'll plug it into YouTube here and we'll see if we can pull it up right quick. I'd love to give him a shout out too.
yeah, he's the one
Very
that got me going, and me and him, he wants to do a collab. So we're talking about doing one coming up soon.
okay, sweet. So, what branch of the military did you serve in? Not that I mean, I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to let you tell us.
I was in the Marine Corps,
Okay, and you served from when to when?
87 to 91.
Okay. So I shared with John, you guys, when we were emailing to get set up for him to be on the show. Richard served in the Marine Corps, but he was, now I already forgot what he told us. When were you in the Marine Corps? Oh, I thought he was at his desk back there. Oh, no, he's probably out over feeding the cats or something. I think I told you he was in from 98 to 2004 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was before I met him. But thank you for your service.
Oh,
And
you're very
what
welcome.
branch of the military was your son in?
He was Air Force,
Okay.
Security Forces, MP.
What's his first name really?
Ross.
Ross. So Ross, thank you for your service as well. We are huge military supporters here. My dad and grandfather both served in the Air Force. Youngest son is a Marine Corps combat veteran. Richard is a Marine Corps veteran, so that's near and dear to my heart. Let's go on now to some more questions. What was the first video you posted or uploaded on your channel, and what was it?
Well, the first one was the one I mentioned earlier, which is about 8 years ago, and that was about a ride, which
Okay.
had Ross and my daughter-in-law on this ride. My first drink that I made, that one was in this past February.
Okay. So did you just take a break and not post a lot between those two, or?
I never even thought about doing it. The only reason I put it on YouTube was so it was easier for them guys to see the video.
Okay.
You know,
How
something
fun.
he kind of helped me do.
How fun. And does anybody help you with the channel? Like,
He did. Ross did initially. He was
okay.
helping me with some of it, and then I've gotten with Rich from Rich New Design Wes. He's helped me with my intro and outro and stuff. But other than that, I do most all the editing, do all that stuff myself, pretty much.
And how do you decide what your next video is going to be? Do you like always have a list of stuff in your head you want to do, or you just sort of?
Kind of. I jot things down, and then if there's suggestions or if something comes up, like lately I've been thinking about like Moscow Mule, and somebody had mentioned one, but it wasn't a Moscow Mule, it was an offshoot. And I thought, well, I mean, you know, I started kind of looking into it, and there's a lot of different ones. And I thought, well, that'd be cool to have, you know, 6 or 7 different ones that are not just your basic Moscow Mule.
Right. And do you like to keep videos? Because I know sometimes I'll watch your videos and there's a string of like beer reviews. So do you deliberately plan it that way, where you focus on a one sort of thing and then you move to another thing, or does it just sometimes happen that way?
Well, I think because the beer reviews are easier because I can knock out a bunch of them real quick.
Okay.
But I don't want to just flood it with 5 or 6 beer reviews because I just did 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
I can kind of spread them out a little bit.
Okay.
You know? Then the others are just a matter of, you know, when something pops into my head to make a drink one.
Okay. And so tell me, if you have created, I'm sure you've created a lot of drinks, but like, have you created a drink that's like your signature, you know?
Yeah, it's Zero Dark 30.
And what's in it?
That's got a lot of stuff. It's got Patron XO, which is a tequila. It's got Jim Beam Black. What else is in there? I use this Blavad. It's a black vodka. And what was my last one? Was the most of the time it's Kraken rum, but it's a spiced rum, so it's a darker rum. And then I put in a shot of espresso, and then I use a Red Bull.
Oh, how interesting. And so are you the automatic bartender when you have gatherings or other friends have gatherings?
Yeah.
And is that okay with you? You like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like making drinks, and I like it when people enjoy what I made.
Okay. And is there still something in your bar there that you don't have that you wish you had?
Oh, there's probably a few things. I mean, there, other than certain liquors, I mean, there are a couple that I'd like to get, but some of it is like the glasses.
Okay.
Because I'll find that it's like, oh, I'm going to make this. Oh, you need to have a Nick and Nora glass, and it's like, I don't have one of those.
Okay.
You know? and some of that just, but it's a matter of my area isn't really big. That's why I've got some of the stuff here in my tool room,
Okay.
because I don't have enough room for all of it.
Okay.
So
So now tell me, what's a Nick and Nora glass?
it's a smaller, like a cordial kind of glass. Looks like a mini wine glass almost,
Okay.
but
And
it's like a cordial, I guess you
I'm
call it.
guessing that's based off the old Thin Man movies.
It might be. I'll have
So
to look that up.
yeah, so some of you in the chat, I might be the oldest one here, but Dick Powell and Myrna Loy starred in a string of old, like 40s and 50s movies. I don't think he was a detective, really. Was he a detective? But they sort of solved crimes, solved cases together. It was a married couple.
Right.
And their names were Nick and Nora. I think I'm remembering this right, but if someone here remembers better than I do, hey, Byron at 12 Stones Ranch, thanks for being here today. And so that's instantly you said Nick and Nora, but now I'm going to have to go back and watch one of those old movies and see if they drink out of a little glass that's like what you described.
I'll have to
That'd be
look because maybe it's something I could do a video. You never
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah. There's a little idea. So, have you looked around for those glasses? Oh, can you order them on Amazon or something?
Yeah, and I've thought about doing, how people do like the unboxings,
Uh huh.
because when I resupply and get different things, I thought, well, maybe I'll do that,
Oh,
do an
yeah.
unboxing when I
Oh,
get
gosh.
some of that stuff.
Well, and a lot of times you just need to do it and then see how well received it is. If you don't
Yeah.
get a lot of views or a lot of comments or whatever, might help you see if people like it, then you'll know maybe it's not the right time to do it, or, that people just aren't interested in it. But that
Right.
seems to be pretty big. There's some channels that's all they do is those
Yeah.
unboxings. So, man, I'd say go for that for sure. So beyond that kind of stuff, is there like equipment that a bartender or a bar would need or want? Is there?
Yeah, I mean, there's the simple, like the jiggers. They have your half ounce and stuff like that. Your full shots. I like using the shaker that has the lid. I mean, I can do it with the two glasses, but I just don't
Uh,
like doing it.
okay.
Because if you watch a lot of other bartending YouTubers, the big channels, that's what they do. They like doing
Okay.
it that style. I like my shaker. That's how I'm used to doing it. And that has the little strainer on the top, so it'll get the
Uh-huh.
ice out. And then I got like a juicer, so if I cut a lime in half or whatever, I got a little juicer for that. I've got another little mesh strainer because sometimes you don't want all the like the pulp and the other things. If you're
Uh-huh.
muddling a drink, you'll want to like double strain it just to
Okay.
get that stuff out.
Okay.
And I've got a smoker. I bought one of those on Amazon. It's the small kind that basically you just set it on top of the glass, and then you use the little kitchen torch, and
Oh,
then it
okay.
fills the glass, infuses it with that smoke flavor.
What kind of drinks need that?
You do it with like old fashioned, a Manhattan.
Okay.
I created one for this Troy and Bagel. They're from their channel is I Love Weed Live, and she had mentioned that make her a drink. So I had asked her, what flavor she liked, different things like that. So I created a bagel on the rocks. So I
Interesting.
muddled some berries and stuff like that, and I used cherry wood.
Sweet.
So
Richard hasn't told me if he's checked out your channel yet. I've been encouraging him for a while now because he's the one here that, will get whatever. In fact, he's come home a time or two with like a case of something. He works for GM and he's responsible for ordering the fancy schmancy decked out Cadillac Escalades for like golf pros and
yeah,
athletes that are here for tournaments and stuff. And the
cool.
people that then he works with to get it all set up, it's not unusual that he comes home with a bottle of something, or he just came home with a case of this rum stuff that I'd never heard of before. And he's the one that'll come over to me every now and then and say, here, taste this. And he mixes up something that's just delicious.
Yeah.
And I can mix a drink, but I just usually don't. I'm a wine drinker. I'm totally happy with just a glass of wine. But I see some other people in the chat. So hello, Weaves World. Thank you. That's funny you're saying I look radiant because I woke up not feeling well at all today. My throat is really raw and scratchy. I might look radiant. Maybe I have a fever and I don't know it. I think it's allergies. Again, this weather's kind of crazy with it was cool and we thought fall was here and then it got hot again, like 90s plus hot. So it could just be a weird combination of things if I'm somehow looking presentable today. Johnny K is asking, John, what your son's favorite drinks are. Do you know what his favorite?
Yes, I know what his favorite drink is. It's called a trash can.
Okay, and I can get that's a little bit of everything in it.
Yes, it's got like a bunch of clear liquors where you have what is it? It's got so you got vodka, gin, a white rum, and a silver tequila, and then you put blue curacao in it, and then I usually put a little sweet and sour, but that one has the sweet and sour mix and what's the other one? Because it has like the Red Bull where you put the Red Bull in there.
Okay.
You put it right on top.
Okay. So that for some reason, when I think of Red Bull, because I don't drink Red Bull, but I've had Jaeger bombs before.
Yeah.
What's your favorite shot?
I like Rumplemints.
What's in that?
It's basically like a peppermint schnapps, except more intense and it's stronger alcohol. But it's something that if let's say you're drinking a lot of beer, or even if you had coffee, I mean, it's gonna freshen your breath, and it's like it almost cleans your palate in a way.
Sweet, nice. I haven't heard of that one. And I see someone new in the chat too. I don't know if I'm going to be able to say this right. I look at your name and think Giev, like Giovanni.
Giovanna.
So I might be wrong, but is that someone you know, John?
Yes.
And is that how do you say it?
Giovanna.
Giovanna. So for the short Giov, is it Giev? Is it
Jove?
Jove. Okay. So I didn't want to butcher that, but thanks for being here today. And yeah, that is a nice collection. I can already see in your background. Anytime we go somewhere where we are at the bar or we can see the bar, Richard always comments on, wow, look at all that stuff they've got. So I think his fantasy house, my fantasy house, has the big floor to ceiling bookshelves with the ladders and all in the library and a grand piano or a baby grand piano. I do think his fantasy house probably has a big stocked bar. The wood grain kind of pub look to it. So again, I'll have to remind him to check out your channel because I think he would enjoy it a lot. Let me get back to my questions here. So since you didn't intend really to have a channel, now that you have a channel and you've got some subscribers, where would you like to see your channel go? If you could just take it anywhere you wanted it to be, it could be about a number of subscribers. It could be about what the channel means to people. Where would you want it to go?
I mean, as far as, I like it when I find out people, found drinks on there that they like. I love that stuff. But I mean, for me, if it was to get monetized and I could, like it'd be vacation money, I guess.
Okay.
Obviously I'm not looking to be a millionaire or something crazy like that. But yeah, where if I could get it and it's like vacation money, that would be awesome.
Sweet. Well, have you done very many other interviews?
No, I've been on lives like with Rich, and I've been on a couple others, but yeah, I've never done any interviews, so it's kind of cool.
You're doing a great job too. Are you on other social media?
Yeah, I started Instagram mainly for that, and then I have the Facebook, and I use Twitter, but I only use Twitter to, like, if I'm sharing somebody else's thing out.
Yeah, that's
all I do with it.
And are all of those other social media platforms called Home Bartending with John?
Which one? One of them is, and the other one, I couldn't fit the whole thing on there. So one's like Home Bartender John.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yes, thank you, Ross. Gio Joe. Okay. So now I know you said your son helped you and Rich has helped you. at points. Do you do all of your own filming? You just set up your camera somewhere and do your own
Yes.
filming, and you do all your own
Yeah.
editing and
Yep.
okay. What's your favorite part of the process then?
Well, I mean, I like coming up with what I'm going to do, and then after it's all done, and I get people's reactions from it and stuff. That's what I like, because filming it, sometimes that's not always great, especially like dealing with sound initially. That was never fun. And then when I would make mistakes, and then I'd have to film it again. And then somebody had mentioned, well, you should save that stuff and put it in. And I've had that where I had a couple bloopers and I saved them and put them at the end.
Okay.
Even though I don't really like looking at it, because
no, people eat
mistake,
that.
But
but your viewers will eat that up. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite part of the process?
Just getting all the timing down, making sure everything is in there when you're doing the editing, and then making the thumbnails, stuff like that.
Have you done other work like that before on anything else?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what software do you use for your editing?
I do it on my phone. I use UCut.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I did before Richard bought me this computer for my birthday last year.
Yeah.
I just did everything on the phone with UCut.
Yeah.
Which worked fine.
Yeah.
I can do more fancy stuff now with the stuff on the computer, but I don't know that the video ends up looking much different. So for the people that are watching it, I don't know that they could really tell the difference. It's just more bells and whistles, which makes it a little more fun for me. It's more work, but it makes it a little more fun. So I like to open up the chat. Well, first I'll ask you, do you have any projects coming up for the channel? Do you have any video series ideas that are coming up? Do you have any?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned, I wanted to do something with the mules, and then I'm going to do some type of collab with my son, because he'll do his shooting, and I've got a lot of my guns, so we were going to kind of do something like that. And then, obviously I got more beer reviews.
Okay.
But there's been some other drinks that I've thought of, but I kind of want to make them. I want to make them a little longer so I can do premieres with them. A lot of my videos are always like 3 minutes.
Right. Right.
You can't really do a premiere with 3 minutes.
Right.
So,
well, maybe again, if you did an unboxing thing, maybe you could take that process all the way through. Like you order something for your bar, you do the unboxing, then you actually then show us you're using the thing. So
yeah,
stretch that out. And I've done premieres even with videos that were only like 6 and 8 minutes long, and nobody complained. So
because I like that interaction with the live chat and stuff.
Gosh, yeah. Oh yeah. So you don't do live streams on your channel though, do you?
No, not yet.
So is that something you want to do?
I've thought about it, going to, like, when I go to Resupply and I go to maybe Total Wine and More, something like that. And I've thought about if I have most of it set up, maybe do some drinks live.
Okay. But, that's the first thought I had, was that I think that would be a fun live. Is people can say, hey, can you make a whatever?
Yeah.
Go, here you go. We'll put a little bit of this in here, a little bit of this in here. And I think that would be super fun. So chat, let's get to chat and see if anyone in the chat has questions for John about himself, about the channel, about his bar. And Vicky, if you have a question, there's a private. I don't know if you can do the private chat from your phone. Are you on your phone, Vicky? Okay. So you might not have that on your phone. I don't think it works the same way. And while we're waiting to see if anyone in chat has questions for you, do you have questions, John? Do you have questions about me or my channel or?
Yeah. One of them was as far as your husband, what he did when he was in the Marine Corps. I was just curious.
What did you do when you were in the Marine Corps? What?
0311.
0311?
Oh, he's a grunt.
A grunt. Okay.
Grunt.
What did you do, John?
I was an Amtracker.
Oh, he was an Amtracker. Okay.
So he knows.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He says eyebrows went up. He knew. Yeah. Y'all are talking another language there, but.
Yeah.
So I guess Gerald was a grunt too? Yeah. So our son Gerald was a grunt too then.
Yeah.
He was infantry, right?
Yeah.
Yes. He was infantry. Yeah. So, but I think that suited him. I'm seeing a question from Nina at Runneth Over Garden and Life. Do you happen to know what is a 5-star general? I guess that's a drink. John, 5-star general. Do you happen to know what is all in it? Voice is unable to find another bartender that can recreate that drink.
No, I don't know that one. Now I'm curious.
There's a project. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I got to look that one up.
That could be another fun interactive thing, is maybe people can think of drinks they've had someplace and tell you the name of it and see if you know it. And if not, then there's a whole video waiting for you to talk about these drinks that none of us had ever heard of before.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll have to get back to you on that, Nina. So a 5-star general.
Star General, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one either. And I imagine sometimes you go to a place and a particular bar or restaurant has a drink that they call something that another place would just call it something different, but it's got all the same things in it, right?
Where they might incorporate their own name, the restaurant name,
right? Okay.
Create their own twist on something.
Right. So, I could ask you, because I meant to ask you this in the beginning. Hey, Robert from Zombie Prepper, thanks for being here today. Are you originally from Michigan?
Yes.
Okay. So you do sound kind of Michigan-ish to me.
Michigan-ish.
Yeah.
Midwestern-ish.
Yeah. And so you're how far from now where did you say the big place was that is not too far from you?
Grand Rapids.
So Grand Rapids, how far are you from Grand Rapids?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, so close. I mean,
yeah, I jump on the highway and get there in 20 minutes, easy.
Okay. And back to your service, were you overseas at all?
Yes, I was. I went to Okinawa, Korea, and then Desert Storm.
Okay. And I mean, I guess we could have just brought Ross up if Ross wanted to come up. I'm wondering if he was stationed overseas at some point.
Yeah, he went over to Iraq.
And when did he serve? What years?
Oh, you got me there. He got out, I think, about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And he did 6 years.
Okay.
Got out as a staff sergeant.
Okay.
He was most of his time was all in Colorado Springs, but he did go to Iraq.
Yeah, Gerald served from 2006 to 2010 active duty and was in Afghanistan. So, yeah. So
I didn't go there. I'm glad.
Yeah. The little I know, and I don't need to know more. I'm glad. I'm just glad he's home. So, here's a question also from Johnny K. Would you rather spend the day with your wife or watch college football while enjoying your favorite drink?
Yeah. I was breaking up. I didn't catch that one.
Oh, so question from Johnny K. Would you rather spend the day with your... Oh, okay.
I was kidding.
You're pleading the fifth?
Yeah.
Well, she could have a drink with you too, right? Why couldn't y'all both watch football and have a drink together?
normally, if I'm watching football, she leaves to go shopping just because she doesn't want to be there when I'm watching the game.
Okay, that's funny. All right. Any other questions for John from the chat? So that's what friends are for, right?
Yeah.
Put you on the hot seat there and.
That's my oldest son.
Oh, okay. Well, good job there then, Johnny. And what does Johnny do then?
He's actually starting a new job.
Okay.
Locally, because he was traveling around doing seismic, where they do it shoots something down looking for oil and stuff.
Okay. And does he have a YouTube channel?
No, but I think he's done videos before, probably ones that he doesn't want people to see.
Okay. Well, Nina posted Ross's channel link earlier, so you guys be sure and check that out. I didn't look to see how many subscribers he has. Ross, send me a message if you want to be on the show sometime. And we'll get your name out there as well. Let's see. From Nina, do you miss being in the military?
Sometimes. I mean, there's, you miss the camaraderie. And then I do miss driving the Amtrak. I mean, I loved running over trees, running over cars, stuff like that. That was awesome.
I know a lot of people that have shared with me, military people that have shared with me after the fact, they wish they'd stayed in long enough to retire from the military. But
Yeah.
I think after a while, just the red tape and the stresses just make it not seem like that would be something to hang around for. All right. So, any other questions from you then, John?
What got you started in interviewing?
I just felt such an incredible amount of support from other YouTubers that I was not expecting. I really thought when we started our channel, I didn't have any plans for it. We just were posting animal videos because over the years we would post stuff on our business Facebook page of the animals, and friends would say, y'all should have a YouTube page. And I thought, I don't know anything about YouTube. I'm too old to be learning about YouTube. And then the pandemic hit, and I guess I had some time on my hands and thought, you know what? Yeah, maybe we'll start a YouTube channel. Let's see what happens. So we started posting the animal channels there. And I didn't want to take it anywhere initially. But once I really decided to get serious about growing the channel and becoming monetized, and yeah, not vacation money for us because we don't travel because we have too many animals. But I thought, if I can make enough money to keep the ducks fed, then at least that's not money we're having to come up with ourselves, and so it would initially was just to share our life with the animals, just because so many people had said, you should put this on YouTube. This is such a great video. But there was some interest there. And then once I found the homestead community, so I found Tuber Chat, and I was amazed that concept even existed. I had never heard of a growth stream. I didn't know that was a thing. And it made a huge difference for our channel. I really did meet a lot of other great creators that showed me a lot of support. They were able to answer questions if I didn't know how to do something. And through Tuber Chat, because we're more homesteady than we are, another niche, I guess, I met a lot of homesteading channels. And I was just so surprised in a great way at the lack of I don't want to say lack of competition, but it never feels like channels are competing against each other. It really has always felt like we celebrate as we're growing. If there are setbacks, everybody is still there to remind you that it's okay and this happens and it's going to be, better. And so once we got monetized, it just really hit home to me that the only way we were able to get monetized was because of people that sort of took me under their wing and gave me ideas and kept me encouraged. And I thought, well, you know what? I want to do that. I want to find channels too, that are up and coming, that maybe have a similar dream to at least make a little bit of, again, vacation money, or
Right.
Just a little extra money on top of whatever they might be earning now, and introduce them to people, because so many of the great content creators I know, so many of the great channels I've come across, it's because I met them through someone else's channel. Again, I met them through Tuber Chat, or I met them, someone else had them on a panel or was interviewing on a live stream, and I would never have known that channel. Like I would never have thought to look up your channel. Richard maybe someday would have looked up a bartending channel, but I don't think I would have ever looked that up. So because I met you, quote unquote, in a Tuber Chat stream, I thought, okay, that's really where the magic happens, is getting people in front of each other, getting the name out there. And like I always say, I just really think when people can know you, when they can see you beyond what they see in the videos, when you're in the videos, because that the perception is still that it's scripted. Maybe you practiced it before you did it. Maybe someone else wrote it or whatever. Not that they don't think it's real, but it's not the same as just to sit down and chat with someone and ask questions and get to know them. Because I think that, I mean, I know people come to YouTube for lots of different reasons. Some people want to learn something. Some people want to, be ministered to. Some people want to escape stresses and, hassles. But I think the majority of people, I really think, come to YouTube to connect. They want to find something they can relate to. They want to feel like they're not the only one that likes whatever this thing is, or feels this way about a thing, or doesn't understand how to do XYZ. And so I think connections are what people are wanting at the bottom of it all. Even if they're just coming for, a tutorial or a mechanical how to or something, I think connecting with the channel, with the creator, with the person in the video, is what is satisfying. That's what makes it satisfying. And the channels that grow big, it's funny to me sometimes some of these just mega millions of subscriber channels, that somehow that's what happened. They connected. People go to their channels and they want it. They want to be there. They feel something that makes them want to be a part of it. And it just became really important to me. I can't think of enough. I'm a good talker, but I don't think I could come on and think of enough to talk about for an hour or two in a live stream just about me. And my videos already share. I'd be the same way. Yeah, the videos already share everything about the animals and what's going on here on the property and stuff. So I don't really, feel a need to come on and then talk about it all. So I thought, you know what? I want to play a little part in opening the door for some other channels that are where I was when I started, and just have fun seeing where it goes. So it's very gratifying to me to bring someone onto the show that maybe some of the people in the chat, or all of the people in the chat, have never heard of. They would never know you if they weren't on the show being interviewed. Right. So, I guess that's kind of cool. A selfish thing. It makes me feel good to be able to do that. And it's watch hours for me. So there's obviously still a payoff for me. If I have people coming to the streams and then watching the streams after the show is over, then it still benefits me, just me, the channel. But it just really feels good, and it's fun for me to get to know people too, beyond what I can see chatting in a live chat with them or just watching their videos.
Yeah, and that's that's part of what I really like is the live chats.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. I just think again the connection is more real when it's happening real time. So So, and Robert at Zombie Prepper just points out that Tuber Chat is great for connecting, and that the better all the channels do that we're connected to, the better we do just by association. True. Again. So yes. I'm building my little circle. I'm growing my little circle here, and I love looking at these numbers. So again, I pull up my little spreadsheet every week, and it really is exciting to me to see the numbers going up for people. So that's what that's about.
Yeah.
But I thank you for being on the show today. I'm going to let you go so we can bring Dr. Lund up. Again, it's snowing where she is, so I guess you don't want snow. Be glad it's staying over on her side of the map. And you guys check out John's channel. This is Home Bartending with John. Let me put his link up right quick. I have it here. There it is right there. And again, I think Nina had already posted that in the comments. So you'll be able to click on a link in the comments. And I'm going to let you go.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. I had a good time.
Yes. I'm glad you were able to do it. And I'll be excited to watch your channel growing. And I'll be excited to see the mule series coming up.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. So now I am going to introduce you to my friend, Dr. Lund from Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund. And I'll tell you guys, let me give you the story again about how I met her. So the first time I saw her was at the Late Late Horror Show. She was in one of the overnight streams. The name instantly intrigued me because it's not a run-of-the-mill generic YouTube name. And I thought, ooh, and we never know. So again, at Dino's channel, there's no self-promotion. We don't go in and say, hey, y'all visit my channel, or here's a link for my next video. We don't, he doesn't like that. That's not what his channel is about. And that's his prerogative, and that's fine. And the reasoning behind that is absolutely sound. He's a big channel. And so if he opened the door for people to come to chats and just promote themselves, then his chat would just be filled, I think. There are people that will seek out a big channel just to go and advertise themselves. So I appreciate that about him. But that's why it was very heartwarming to me. I had sent him a private message on Discord, just inviting him to check out my channel as another content creator, which he did. And he liked what he saw and even gave me a shout out in a live stream. It was a trivia night or a movie review night. I think it was a trivia night. And my jaw just hit the floor because he even prefaced what he was going to say about my channel by saying, I don't do this. I never do this. I've never done it before, but you guys need to go check out her channel. So I just adore Dino. He's beautifully quirky. He's wonderfully particular, but that makes for a very warm and safe environment when we're at his channel and all spending time together in chat. He does those live streams overnight every night with the old time radio shows. I'm going to always encourage you guys to go check it out because it's just a great escape. It's a great little therapy session, I think. And I'll just be the first to say, yeah, maybe you can analyze me here, Dr. Lund. I have watched way too much of that awful Darrell Brooks trial this week. I'm wondering if that's why I'm wondering if that's why physically I'm not feeling well, because I usually feel good. I might be kind of tired every now and then, but I thought, I know what stress does to the body. I know what being emotional can do if you're overwhelmed with it. And I just am really having a hard time not being angry and sad and confused and just wow. So that's all I'm going to say about that now. But I just wanted to say that part of what YouTube does for me, when I find the channels that I love where I spend the most time, which is funny because that leads to the next part of where I saw Dr. Lund next. But Dino's channel, I go there and it's the opposite of that. It's the opposite of the hassles of the day and, money stresses and politics, and because none of that is allowed there. We're just there to have fun together and be a family. But again, interestingly enough, the second time I saw Dr. Noir online was the very next day after I had seen her at Dino's live stream, and she was at Peter Tragos's Lawyer She was in a live stream chat. So again, that name is very hard to forget, Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund. So I saw that name in Peter's chat, and I even typed, did I just see you last night? And again, no self-promotion. We don't go into Peter's streams either and say, hey, visit my channel. Here's a link for my next video. But, I knew she would know what I was talking about without saying, hey, did I see you at the Late Late Horror Show last night? So sure enough, we just happened to be both in the same places at the same times, and we enjoy those things equally, I think. So I had to check out her channel, and I love what she does, and I think she's on a wave here that, man, I just really think you could find ways to apply your background and your knowledge and skills to put out so much content that people are going to eat up. So this is my friend, Vicki Lund, who is in Wisconsin, where it was snowing today. Is it still snowing?
I just got some snow alerts on the phone, so I'm sorry if I keep reaching up to get them off the phone. It's
Oh, that's funny.
a while after I sent you the video, but it's got the look. It's
That's funny.
it,
So I wanted to show a little snippet of that video that you sent me because
yeah.
wish I'd seen that video like 3 weeks ago when it was still. I don't know if you guys can tell, but those are snowflakes coming down in this video that she texted to me.
Yeah, maybe a little hard to tell.
All the little flickers that look like glitter that you see are snowflakes. Anyway, I won't. Oh, it's a short video. I was gonna say I won't play all of it, but it looks like it's just about finished there. So that's what's happening right now, weather-wise, in Wisconsin.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
off. Is that typical? Like, is this the first winter that? I mean, obviously you would have at least visited up there, but
I have been up here. Let's see, this will be going on my 2.5 years up here. But again, this, Kathy, is I formally live in Florida.
right.
And when I tell people, they're like, "Oh, you're not in Florida, you're in Wisconsin, girl. What's wrong with you?" I grew up in Indiana, so I love the change of seasons. I got no problem with the snow as long as I don't have to go anywhere and drive in it. I'm good. And I'm kind of tired of the hurricanes, the humidity, the palmetto bugs, the geese. I mean,
I forgot about those.
it's got its own beauty and charm and bugs and snakes, but I just feel for some reason the weather changes. I just feel more alive. I feel better. My hair looks better. I just the humidity is a killer, and so I don't miss Florida. I'm gonna have to make some decisions about what to do with the property down there.
Well, and again, I know I had forgotten that you weren't in Florida as Ian was approaching because I think I had sent you a message.
Yep.
You know, making sure everything was okay. And you said, "Oh yeah, I'm in Wisconsin." So, hello to Fat Ninja DM. Thanks for stopping by. I see him in the chat. I like to be able to greet people as they come in. So tell me though about the property because I've seen this is a different room. I think that you're in now than when I saw you last time, right?
And actually, it's the same room. However, but my system is pretty creative. I've got your channel on my TV in front of me. I have the computer with your channel on, and I have my telephone propped up on a box in front of it all. And so you make
let it not be said that you're not resourceful. You're definitely resourceful, right?
Girl, I have come up with things that people are like, that's not supposed to work that way. Like, it may not look good, but it's working for me right now. Let me go. Let me do it.
And we get the train. I hear the train in the background.
It can't stop that. I have to laugh sometimes when I hear the ding ding of the gates coming down. If I'm doing a video, I know I gotta speed up and end it because I don't quite know how to edit that out.
Yeah.
Or talk louder, one of the two.
Well, that might end up being like your signature thing. I've just had so many videos where right in the middle of the video, the dogs start barking or howling or all of the above. And I think, okay, people know we have dogs, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. If they didn't know we had dogs before, whichever video they're seeing, they'll know upon hearing it in that video. So I think you just have to go with the flow. And that, if anything, that's just going to make it more real. People are going to realize, oh, she's not in a fancy schmancy studio and somebody's not like editing all the sound after the fact. This is just real footage here. So
there's nothing fancy dancy about any of this. Even amazed anything gets loaded up for as behind the times. It's like, okay, the baby boomer. Please be kind to your grandmothers and your parents. Learn more about computer skills. I never knew I was this behind, but I am. But I'm trying.
Yeah, Well, I like what I see so far. I would love for you to share with us what your background is, like your professional background.
Yeah, I, as I said, I'm a baby boomer, so I've been around a little bit. I started in nursing. I started as an LPN or an LVN, whichever state you're in, and then got my RN, did hospital work for a while, and I really focused on psychiatry. That I tried different areas, and when I worked on an inpatient psychiatric unit that was a big institution in Florida, or not Florida, in Iowa, it was like I found my people. I like this. It didn't scare me. I truly enjoyed it. And then from there, I went back and got a master's degree. And it's in nursing. And then I was on a roll and I thought, so, okay, I'm the least likely person to get a PhD. So I'm going to get me one of those, which I did. And that's in family and child sciences. So the doctor is not MD, but it's a PhD. And
Okay.
and I've done a lot of training and certifications and therapy. So about the first 13, 14 years of my career, I was lucky enough to work in a private practice, had gone as an independent. So I was my own my own boss, my own corporation, so I can fire me at any will and then hire me the next day. And then from there, I had gotten a call if I was interested in doing healthcare investigations with the US Department of Justice. That I didn't even know there was such an entity that existed, and they go in when they hear complaints about state or federally owned and operated agencies, prisons, psychiatric facilities, nursing homes, what have you. If there are complaints, they will gather a team of folks with different expertise. And so I have done that humbly, which I've learned so much from for about the last 23 years. I still love the therapy part of it, and it's sort of like you're kind of born with that. You never lose it. And it's great that some folks who are intuitive like that can make a living at it. You just, you can read different things and you look at things maybe a little bit different. And not that you're not judgmental, but there's really no place for that in a therapeutic environment. And I think that helped me with my skills when I went into different states that were under investigation for questionable health practices. And it was always sort of my motto is that, if when I'm asking someone questions, a doc, a nurse, an administrator, if I see fear in their eyes or they start crying, which happens, I have failed. Because I need to get information about what some of the problems are that they find or I find. And the end point is always got to be, how do we resolve it? What do you need? What do you need? Resources, more staff, more equipment? What do you need to make it better? And so that is really sort of the last career thing that I've done was working with the US DOJ, which again, my interest with attorneys and, with Peter Tragos's YouTube channel, I got hooked on all of that, especially during the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial, which talk about a du jour for a clinician. You're just drooling, going, okay, no, yeah.
Here's what's going on.
And you listen to commentators, which I was doing, going, yeah, you obviously don't have enough experience. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
how frustrating would that be, though? Oh,
like, I need to tell somebody that they're on the wrong track. They're looking at this the wrong way.
right.
Which I was really kind of surprised that I was getting so engaged in that. Just besides my clinical background, and just to jump into why YouTube became a facet of my life is about 2.5 years ago, everything in my world changed. I know I've talked with you about that, Kathy. My sister was diagnosed with cancer. She was in Indiana, where we're from. I was in Florida, and I was with her when she got her diagnosis in Indiana. And from that moment, everything changed. I stopped working in a heartbeat. In that second, because I had to travel for work, so that wasn't going to happen. I was not in Florida, so I hadn't seen my home for a couple of years because I got her out of Indiana, and that's how I ended up in Wisconsin. Is I'm fairly close to Mayo Clinic, and so we, I pulled my cats. We pulled her Chihuahua, and our little family came up here, and we stayed for some Airbnbs and hotels while she was getting treatments and diagnostics and all that stuff. And being her healthcare advocate, that it was sort of like, out of all the things I learned from everything I did in my career and beyond, it, I just knew that was my prep for the real job, was to take care of my sister, who is and was and is my best friend. And unfortunately, Donna passed away. And so anybody, and I know everybody has dealt with something like this, is now you have estate issues, CPAs, attorneys, her condo in Indiana, the pandemic hit. So I'm doing all this back and forth from Wisconsin, of packing her condo and bringing her stuff up here. And I made 2 trips for 7 months, and it was about a 6-hour drive. But the one thing I knew is it was keeping me on track. I had to, know names, dates, places. When I'm talking to all these professionals, knowing that something horrible has happened, but sometimes you have to be on your game when you're dealing with all these folks. And then once I got everything settled and got the condo sold, I knew it was going to hit. And for folks, not just in the medical field, but for us in the medical field, I don't think we're always that great at grief. You're sort of given a lot of kudos if, something bad happens and you're at work the next day. It's like, good for you. You're a warrior. Well, I don't want to be a warrior. She was too important in my life to be able to make that a blip and then try to go back to work and help families and in lawsuits. And you need to be so committed and on your game to these folks. And so my babysitter really started to become YouTube, even when my sister was ill and decompensating with her health. At nighttime, I would watch old movies, which I've always loved, thus the Noir part of my psychology title. Those were my favorite movies to watch. And to be honest with y'all, I didn't know what YouTube exactly was. A couple of years before she got sick, I found YouTube, and it showed me how to change the windshield wipers on my car. And girl, that was all I really kind of used it for. It was like a how-to. Oh, it's good because I'm a more visual learner, and I had no idea there were movies on there. Any subject you wanted to know about, all you had to do is get a few keywords, and it'll plug you in. And yes, perhaps I am behind the times, but in my defense, because of the job doing the healthcare investigations with DOJ, a lot of the folks who were in that field, we really could not be on social media. It was like, if a state's going to hire you or DOJ is going to hire you to come in and investigate, and you go to court, and I've seen it happen, you don't want to be in a deposition or a court case where the opposing attorney puts up the screen and there you are.
Look what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good job, and it doesn't do professionally. And so that was the only thing I really was accustomed to. So Facebook, I mean, I have an account just so I could go in and see it, but I've never used it, don't understand it. YouTube, like I said, it was a surprise. And at this point in time, when I started, and when I really got engaged with the trial issue. And I found myself having energy to get up and watch it every day. It started at 8, ended at 5. And that wasn't my routine. There were days getting up was just why, besides taking, Abby Chihuahua out, to do her thing and feeding the cats. And it was, part of the grief process, part of really being depressed. And so interestingly, I kind of started using YouTube as kind of a barometer, an objective barometer of how I was doing. Could I focus and concentrate? Did I get up, and what was I watching? What motivated me and what didn't motivate me? And then thinking, well, I didn't do that. I can talk for hours. Can do that. Unfortunately, psychology and people's behaviors and, what do you think? I can do that. But what I learned very quickly is what I couldn't do was edit.
Oh.
We had spoke, and I watched all the tutorials on YouTube about doing YouTube. And they're like, all you do is, I had my screen open and I'm watching them on the TV so I could see. And so they're saying, you press this button and you do this. And I'm like, I don't have that button. I'm not seeing it. And who knew, Kathy, that what you see on the screen of your phone versus your iPad versus your computer versus your TV is not unified?
Yes.
How would you know that?
Yeah.
I was like, geez, this is okay. These guys need to take it back a little.
Yeah.
They're thinking, can see that. I don't even have that on my screen. And so once I learned that, it made it a little bit easier of, okay, this is also going to be a barometer of your patience tolerance and your ability to learn. And so that, I think it's just a different entrance into YouTube. And that's sort of how I got into it about 3 months ago. So I am so new.
Well, there's nowhere to go but up, though.
That's what I'm hoping.
I already know about your first video, but tell us, once you decided to take the plunge, what was the first video you put up, and when did you put it up?
I know it was 3 months ago.
I did want to say hello. I see a few more people that have come in. So hello, Dancing Alone with Reynolds. It's good to see you. Vandal the Land, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing out a link, Nina, because I think I read another quote that says they got here through a link that you shared. And did I see anyone else? Joe Hupp, thank you all for being here today. This is Dr. Vicki Lund from Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund that I have on the screen with me right now. And now she's going to explain to us what her first uploaded video was and when she uploaded it.
Yeah. I won't explain how I did it because but it was about 3 months ago. I had done a couple where I sort of just took my phone and propped it up somewhere. And by that time I had, boxes and stuff from my sister's condo. So I was like, okay, what background can I use that doesn't look like I'm either a hoarder or, I'm getting ready to move in or move out. And so I found a little space and I did a couple of trials. But again, it was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. It was that there was so much focus on diagnoses. And that's, even as a therapist, I can't diagnose somebody from the TV or, from what I read about them. And so legally, there are a lot of limitations to that. And for folks who have different licenses, I know we all have to be careful about what you do and what you say. And the caveat, this is not, recommendations. I'm not diagnosing anybody, but if that were accurate. And so that's kind of how I started in my little corner. And again, hearing possible trains coming in, the at the door, Abby barking to go out. It was a free for all. I remember watching it going, I never realized I talked so slowly.
Again, I think it's perfect for the subject matter you're covering. I think it needs to be.
Thank you.
Because that keeps it calm and it's just a little easier for people to digest and process, I think, as you're sharing. So I think it's the perfect speed. So where would you like to take the channel? So if your wildest dreams could come true for your channel, what would it look like?
Yeah, that is a good question. When I started this, and again, finding how difficult the technology part was, not the content. It's like, oh, Lord, if somebody can do that for me, that would be golden. But of course, I can't let anybody do that for me because I don't know what day I'll be ready to do it, or what day I feel like showering. Although I did.
Oh, thank you,
girl.
I'm honored.
Do anything for a week. But I made myself a deal going through, the issue with my sister and the loss of my sister, and being so appreciative and really humbled by what I've been able to do career-wise in my life. I mean, I've had extraordinary opportunities. I'm not quite sure why, but I so appreciate the things I learned. But I also know at this stage, 64, going to be 65 pretty soon, whatever I do next cannot be a stress. I don't want to get obsessed with it. I mean, I loved what I did. I was obsessed with working with families. It's a thing that you don't take a day off. When a family calls and they have a medical issue with a loved one, you're there. You're on the plane the next day or that night. You don't. I take that advocacy very seriously. And so with YouTube, I want to make it fun. I'm still working on that part. And again, my disability is the technology part. I've had a friend ask, well, how did you get that video or that picture of Amber or whatever? And I'm like, well, I sit in front of the TV and watch YouTube, and then I may stop it or quickly, take a picture of it and then upload it from my pictures. And they're like, you do that with all your stuff? I was like, doesn't everybody? Like, girl, no. So like I said, and I still do that even for our promo. And those all are, I maybe perhaps go the long way around, but at least I know I can do it that way. And again, hopefully it will become easier and more fun. And again, this process is kind of a memory tester for me, as well as I think I try so many different ways to do things that by the end of it, I've actually forgotten what worked.
Yeah. And I can sometimes be like that too.
Oh, and then I'm back on. They're going, okay, with my little microphone for the TV, how do you upload a thumbnail to YouTube? Because I may try it on Canva, and I may try it on iMovie. And then I get mixed up on which did what. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that anymore because I don't get it. I'll try a whole nother website for it. So that could be part of my problem. But what I'm hoping is, again, some of it is still very personal for me, is that I find something that is engaging and it's fun. My original idea was not to do what I did during work. But then, like I said, watching people who I don't think gave complete explanations of certain psychological issues, and that sort of drove me nuts. Pets, animals, I share that. That truly is my heart, and you don't have to be on screen for that. So take a shower. you know, here are the stars of the show, and they don't care what they look like. And so I thought that would be something kind of neat to do. But instinctually watching one of the tutorials And many of them say it on the tutorials is don't press record when everything's perfect or you'll never do it.
Absolutely.
And that made sense. That made sense. But again, I didn't know that it's sort of, I don't know if it committed me, but it at that time it focused me on the trial because that trial was still in full swing and there were so many channels about it. And I think this is one thing that most people wouldn't be scared of, but it really kind of freaked me out a little bit, is that my last video about Amber Heard, I mean, I think I made 6 videos and they're all about Johnny and Amber. It's like, really? The world has moved on. I'm just going to close.
Okay.
That was in the way. And the last video I did, again, a very put it together with, it and paper clips and however I did it. Out of all the videos I did, Kathy, I would watch, I've got 10 people and they're not me. How do I send them candy or something? And that last video, I got 40,000 views.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, it didn't equate to how many subscribers. I didn't care at that point. I just kept watching the number, thinking that something was terribly wrong. I did something to the computer. I messed something up, and that's not accurate. And then I got nervous. It was almost like, oh God, there's an expectation. I need to do a follow-up here. And it was like, and I hadn't made one in 2 months.
Yep.
And I finally just uploaded one yesterday about the Nicholas Cruz trial.
Oh, good. I haven't seen it yet. Okay. Okay.
But it's a twist. I'm not going to get into the controversy of death penalty issues, but it really addresses some of the risk of PTSD for the jurors.
Right.
In any capital murder case.
Right.
And even not that kind of a capital case.
Right.
But now, interesting, there's an issue with a juror claiming somebody
harassed or threatened. Yeah. I heard that today. Yeah.
I thought, well, okay, well, we'll see. And so I think last count, maybe 33 people.
Okay. Well, there's a new video at Dr. Lund's channel that I want you guys to go and watch. Yeah, and I'll be excited to go and check that one out too. And again, I just think this is the perfect time. Just a perfect time in history for someone like you to come along and have a channel and sort of give us a look behind the curtain on some of the emotional, psychological aspects of stuff that, for us lay people, we just get all caught up in it because it's so sensationalized or because there are celebrities involved or all of the above. Mm-hmm. And even without, being trained, I think, again, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard, there were millions of people all over the world watching and making the same kind of diagnoses.
Absolutely.
As a professional might make if they were treating one of them or both of them in a clinical setting.
Yes.
But then to have somebody that is trained and skilled and has a background in that point out the things that could be happening, I just think that's fascinating, and it makes me want to watch it even more, because then it doesn't seem so much like it's just the train wreck that you can't turn away from. Then it makes it seem like you really are getting a little course in human behavior and what makes people tick and why did this happen kind of part of some of these crazy cases. And yeah, this Nicholas Cruz thing is really not that I hadn't considered it before, but in Peter's live, I think when he replayed the jury findings, when the verdict was handed down yesterday,
right,
there was one juror that audibly either had been crying or was crying as she answered the clerk who was asking, is this, do you affirm that this is your decision or whatever, however they asked that question.
Right.
And wow. And I thought, oh my gosh, that this person and that they didn't decide, don't know, spoiler alert, they did not decide to give him the death penalty.
Right.
But even though they didn't decide to give him the death penalty, that particular juror was still so emotional, just saying the word yes to affirm that, yes, this was her, the decision that was on her form, on her juror form, was her decision.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the questions in Peter's chat about, whether or not jurors have access to mental health help after cases like this. I didn't really think about it as much. I know watching parts of some of these trials, I question whether I would be able to be a juror on a trial. Again, not because of any preconceived ideas I have about death penalties or punishments for crimes, but just because the content of some of the evidence just seems like it would be so gut-wrenching to see and hear. This Darrell Brooks thing, y'all, I'm telling you, I haven't even seen, because they haven't shown some of these videos, but the sounds of what he did is, I mean, I'm glad I'm kind of a horror fan and stuff, and I can watch scary, bloody, gory stuff and not go to bed and have nightmares and stuff about it. But that's pretty much that case there. That was a horror movie happening.
And in Wisconsin, not that long ago, I would go through Waukesha to get down to Indiana to my sister's place.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's probably going to be the next video, because again, that I think helping people understand there is a difference between being competent to stand trial and being clinically competent.
Yeah. Oh, those, yeah. Some is definitely, yeah, whatever tests he took didn't show something. Because again, I don't have to be trained to know there is something wrong with this dude. There's something dangerously wrong with him. So,
and for people who the test to be clinically, or not clinically, but competent to stand trial, is all the person has to do is know what the judge is, what the jury is, what an attorney does, what the charges are. And I have worked with many, many folks in my career who had lots of delusions, held a job, went out to eat, but also might have thought that they were Jesus. Mm-hmm. And again, sort of the dysfunction, you have to kind of weigh that dysfunction of what that person is dealing with and how functional they can be. And sometimes the message is, I know you think that, and that's not something you share. You don't share that with coworkers. You talk about it when you come see me.
Yep.
And that sometimes those are the negotiations with keeping that person functional, but you also know that there's something behind it. And I think that's the hard thing for folks to understand is, watching somebody, again, understand people have a right to be their own attorney, but the difference really, again, I think mental health and the legal system need to merge a bit more on this. It's like, yeah, he knows well enough what the judge is. He's driving her nuts, and he knows what a jury is, and he knows those other things. But he gives you enough other information that his thought processing isn't appropriate. It's not on target. Something else is going on. So I don't understand how they can call that competent to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to see you then do a video on that.
Yeah, that's because interestingly, I've been able to interview some folks, especially folks who had been either deposed or in court, that had to answer questions to the perpetrator who did something harmful to them or to their family. And again, trauma that and re-traumatized.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part is, again, especially like going back with the jurors, after the day is done with the jurors, it doesn't seem to be anybody's responsibility, the defense or prosecution. Nobody really has the responsibility to ask these folks,
Yeah.
Are you okay? And when you're
Deep breathe. Yeah.
this is where you need to call. We need to keep track of you, because for me, it was just amazing that with the, the Cruz case, when the jurors went back to the building in that stool that had basically been untouched for 4 years, except the victims' bodies were removed, but
Right.
everything was, it's
As
dated.
it was. Yeah. Yeah.
And that has, I said, you can't unsee that.
Yeah.
You can't see autopsy pictures. And somebody said, well, you have to be of sound mind and body. Well, as a clinician, to determine that, I don't show people pictures of kids shot in the face.
Yeah.
Or that's not a part of something that anybody, as strong as your constitution is, or as weak as, you throw up at, blood scenes, you don't know how somebody's going to react. And plus, it could happen months later or even years later.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's kind of the noir part of why I call it psychology noir, because I've always looked at things a little bit on the periphery of, there are the main players, the defendant and the this. Yeah, got those, but who on the periphery is being affected by this that really doesn't sort of get, the billing or
Right.
get maybe the support that they need.
Right.
That's always been kind of, always had that little slant, the little twist, I've enjoyed that, because it's usually appreciated by folks who are like, well, nobody's even asked us about
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping I want to motivate you to give us some more content. Some of these, and I know you and I had talked. I think it would even be fun. You could do historical cases. You could go back
it. Yes.
centuries even and give us your insight on, you know, cases or people from times past and what could have been going on. And I just think again, it's an opportunity to learn, and it's an opportunity to be a little more sympathetic at times with, again, some of those people that maybe are impacted that you don't always realize are impacted.
Mhm.
Um, and to make people aware of the resources out there for help and the therapies that are available, because I think, you know, that's one of the best parts of YouTube, is that the sharing of information really can make a difference for people that need
Yeah.
help, whatever kind of help it. Maybe you just need a recipe, super simple. Maybe
Mhm.
your dog is having a problem, super simple. But I think there's also that great opportunity to heal people and minister to people through videos on YouTube. And that that takes a whole village then to be able to cover all the bases. So I just think you're in a really unique position to give us interesting content and enjoyable content, even if the subject matter might be kind of dark and sad at times.
And,
But,
and
you know, well, and I know there are lots of times too, I'll watch some of these cases and feel really good about myself.
mhm,
Like, wow, you know,
that,
man,
yeah,
I can think of a time when I was really sad or I was really angry. I never in a billion years would have ever thought to do something like that. That's got to mean I'm not quite as wacko as I might believe I am at times. So, you know,
it,
perspective. It's all about perspective. And
and
if we
it's been so interesting as well too, against being out of this, doing my thing for all these years, and hearing, as things got more and more publicized about, the kids who are being bullied online, the kids who are committing suicide because they've been bullied online. And honestly, I have to say, I didn't really get it. It was like, well, shut the computer off.
Mhm.
Well, okay, parents, knock that, don't let them on it. What it, and it was very interesting to experience starting this channel, which is rather exposing for somebody who's been pretty much, I'm an introvert really, except when I'm talking my work. Other than that, I'm quiet. Don't bother me. I won't bother you. And but watching the numbers go up, or reading comments that, oh, interesting video. Oh, I disagree with that, which was fine, interesting. And it's like, well, then you don't know psychology.
Oh, uh-huh.
But not, and then getting a couple really nasty ones. It was like, really? You don't know who I am. and funny, ruminating, not on the 12 nice, interesting ones, or that even gave great feedback, like, lady, you really need to learn how to edit. It's like, I hear you. And focusing on this one really nasty one. And I thought, okay, I'm learning something. I am learning how powerful this is, and not being a part of it before, I didn't know.
Absolutely.
I,
And
I
unfortunately, the bigger you grow, and that's anywhere, big company, big YouTube channel, big family, the more variables, the more people you're going to interact with, I just think the numbers go up across the board. So yeah, you might have, lots more positive, comments with videos because there's just more people watching, but it just means that the nasty ones are going to be more
Mhm.
prevalent as well. So I think YouTube can be a great exercise in finding your own worth and value without needing the validation of other people. Now, obviously, when you're looking to build a channel and you want to grow and you want to become monetized and you want to, you know, get more followers and subscribers, then it's hard to not use that as a measure of yourself. At least for me, I've always been one to really, probably to an unhealthy degree, define myself by like my job. What
Mhm.
is my job? Where do I work? What is my title? What are my responsibilities? That's my identity.
I get
Uh,
it.
and so, which makes always made me a great employee. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure that's not something you can teach someone. You can't teach someone to care or be passionate about what they're doing.
Right.
But to my detriment, it meant that often my family suffered or I suffered. I went without something I needed or I missed
Right.
important things with my family because I let the work be more important than myself or my personal time.
Sure. Yeah, and I totally get that. I mean, I married my career, and I made that decision. Um, and so talk about lacking balance. Woo! But at the time, it's great. You get your crazy from work, but it doesn't follow you home. You
Yeah.
get your pluses from work, your good feedback. Again, you get the stars and the kudos for being a good employee and being good at what you do. Um, and that, like I said, I don't regret that a bit. But again, it's interesting now hitting that 65 mark of, hmm, I think I need a better balance
Yeah,
because
yeah, might be time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, then, for whatever reason it may have happened, I would just count it a blessing that you're at that point where that's how you're seeing things.
yeah, and again, very, very interesting of, finding what motivates me. Even with the channel, I didn't want to turn into the National Enquirer. I
Yeah.
there are great channels, and I listen to them. I like watching some of the gossipy channels. Some of them, if there's no truth to them, it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's
Oh, yeah. Then it's, yeah.
make stuff up. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Didn't I didn't, and I think it's still that I still have a license, that professional face of, I don't want to become, let's, yeah, get the pitchforks and let's go find Amber. I, I don't want to do that. That feels very not me. And it's interesting because still, I know if I put out another Amber video,
Probably. Yeah. Probably. But there's plenty of other things for you to cover. So you
that's what
can still satisfy those cravings for people without it turning into like an obsessive looking
exactly.
channel. So,
Yeah, or kind of a back.
yeah.
Again, treated many folks like Amber, and she's not unique.
Yeah.
She's predictable.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the part of it is, okay, well, you've seen all this stuff. What do you expect to change now?
Right.
Uh, but and that's again, I think that's part of sort of keeping, sort of balancing. It's like, maybe doing videos of my fur babies that I adore and I am so blessed to have, would take some of the pressure off of getting away from still the professional
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. And
You know,
again, you can find a balance there with the content. Things that
exactly.
keep it just for fun for you, and then other things that are a little heavier. I do want to open chat up to see if anyone has questions for Dr. Lund about her channel, about her career, about Wisconsin. Anybody have questions for her?
Skills.
And again, I'll remind you to go. Let me put up my banner for you with your channel link. There's your channel link, and I think Nina has probably posted your link in the chat. That always makes it super simple for you to just click the link and pay her a visit. But yeah, I'd love to see a couple more 40,000 view videos.
That scared me. It was like, oh my God.
What, they want it? No, just use it as motivation. That's awesome.
It's right. It's scared because I think it's in my own mind. It set an expectation that I wasn't ready for.
Okay.
I'm an all or nothing girl, which is not
Okay.
what my father used to always say. Vicki, you're all or nothing. If it doesn't interest you, or when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
And you're not, it's a guns ablazes. And
Yeah.
it sort of scared me. It's like, okay, you got to get better at editing. You got to put out something more. I guess about Amber, I don't know. And 40,000 people. What do you send out thank you cards? What do you do about this? And I did nothing.
You know what? You really just put out more content. When that many people want to see the video, I think that's how you reward them then, is with more content. And then over time, they start, trusting that, hey, I'm going to go to her channel because she's always got something that I like. And I don't think the fancy schmancy is as big a deal as you might think it is. If people can understand what you're saying, so if the audio is good, and if the images are at least, in the right spot in the video, that they tie in with whatever you might be covering, I just don't think it has to be real fancy. But I will encourage you, because I don't know that for sure, not many of us, if any of us, start out really knowing how to do all that or do it well in the beginning.
Good.
So I don't think there are points taken off. I'm sure that you will, years from now, look back on your first few videos and go, oh my gosh, so different. Oh, I'm so glad I finally figured out how to do X, Y, and Z. And for me, that's been part of the fun, learning a new editing skill, learning how to add elements to the videos that I was intimidated just thinking about, 6 months ago even. So I think, just you learn by doing, and I wouldn't put that pressure on yourself. Again, if something's really bad, you're going to get that nasty comment from somebody that's going to make sure you know it. But if the other 99 people are all saying, thank you for this, this was great, I learned a lot, then that other person doesn't hold any weight, really. So
again, like I said, what a surprise, at living your life to almost 65, and something from somebody anonymous could make such a difference. Like I said, it showed me power that I didn't really understand, because I didn't do Facebook. I don't read. No, this is tough enough as it is. Maybe when I'm 70, I'll figure out.
Oh, well, I still think you've got a gift to share, and you're good at being on the camera. And I just want to motivate you. I want to keep you encouraged, because I would love to see more content like what you've already put out on your channel. And so I'm reading a comment from Vandal the Land. True, the best compliment to a chef is an empty plate, no words necessary. So as a creator, more content is a true thank you. So I just think, keep that in mind. If people are watching your videos, then keep giving them videos. If you post a video then and no one watched it, that content either was something they didn't want to see, or it wasn't the right place at the right time. And I haven't been able to figure out. I think I would be a millionaire already if I really could figure out which video is going to perform which way on which day, because I really have had 14-second shorts that have more views and comments
Yeah.
than, my 15-minute video that I spent 3 months putting together and gathering clips and looking things up and
Yeah.
providing all the details in the description. And so it's just hit and miss. But if at the end of the day it's fun and you're proud of how it turned out, then let that be all that matters.
I mean, excellent point. But I do want to just mention one thing to some of your viewers as well too, is I hope they don't see me as just such a different entity, because I got to share some. Is up until I have become a Wisconsinite, I lived on 70 acres in Florida by myself with pigs, lots of cats, anything. And again, people would say, "Can I hunt on your property, Vicki?" And I was like, anything that dies here dies of natural causes. And so fencing, wells, sitting on the porch many a day, just in tears going, I don't know how to fix this. My tractor's broken. Or I can't get the gas cap off of the tractor. It works, but I can't fill it. I again was so humbled that I don't feel so different from the folks, like I said, kind of off the grid, because there are times I slept outside out there for sure. Or the homesteading. I didn't really have time to grow very much because I was traveling so much, and I sort of missed that of having that much property. I inherited like Cabernet grapes from the people before me, and I'm sure they saw them now, they'd be like, "Lord, honey, you didn't do anything for years." Right?
Again, serendipity. And I think when you get down to it, a lot of us will find that we're not that different. That there are some little threads that run through all of our lives, regardless what we might be creating for YouTube, that are points of connection and places to relate to each other. Nina does have a little comment here that if you need content, she will offer her husband voice so you can analyze him. There would be a fun little series of videos where we can offer up someone.
I was going to say, it could be a mini series.
It could be. That could be on. I mean, wow, that could be a never-ending stream of ideas come to you right there.
Reality show, totally.
Uh-huh. And I did hear that. Nina's asking if I heard the twang when you were talking about where you used to live, all by myself. Yep, I heard it. So see, again, she's not that different, y'all. Dave Plouffe. Okay, look, here's Dave Plouffe from Late Late Horror Show in the chat.
Oh,
so what? Dave, this is Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund, who is a frequent chatter with us over at Dino's place.
Yeah, again, I know folks by name, and I think just because of the length of the name and the weirdness of the name, that's like, I've seen
that. Yeah,
many times I've been called sir, and it was like, no.
Yeah, me too, though. They see Rich Cat. Hey, Rich. Hey, bro. Hey, dude. Hey, my man.
Exactly.
So I just answer to whatever they say. At least we're communicating. So tell me if you have questions. Do you have questions?
Oh,
I know it sounds like you would love to learn some more things just about how to make the YouTube world a little easier, but.
And I know that's a process. I finally did some, because I have Macs, my computers and my iPad, my phone, and didn't really realize that the Macs that I have, I use them for work. And so they're 15 plus years old. Not recognizing that. And I went from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 13.
Whoa.
Woo! Having no idea, because some of my apps weren't going to work anymore because the 6 didn't update the system. And so I finally just got in the mail yesterday a mini iPad from Apple that I think might maybe some of the problem that I've had with some of the technology, because, and maybe not, we'll see. But I think that's helpful. But it's, again, my system is so weirdly rigged. Like I said, you're on the TV here, and I can see the back of the computer. I've got the phone on a box over here, and I'm sure people are like, "Can you just commit to one device?" Like, I'm afraid.
Well, this worked great. I'm glad we got together a couple weeks ago so that at least we would know, let's just stick with the phone for
Yes.
the interview. But it worked great. It came through. The picture is clear. The audio is good. And this was such a treat. So I really want to encourage all of you, check out John at Home Bartending with John, and check out Vicki, Dr. Lund here at Psychology Noir with Dr. Lund. And in her comments, please be kind, but please also make suggestions on some stuff you'd like to see. I know I talked with her once about how I thought it really would be fun to maybe go over some of the old noir films and
Yes.
have some fun with, analyzing characters and the things that happen in those films. So, anyway, I'm just tickled that this worked out, that you're on the show today. I do want to close like I often do, letting people know who my upcoming guests are going to be. I know I've shared that with you guys before, but just want to keep bugs in people's ears so that they will return for future episodes of the Roundup. So next Friday, again, next Friday's still kind of up in the air. Adam Sky is a definite. He is one of my UK friends. So the time, y'all thank him for that when he comes on, because they're 6 hours ahead of us. And then Amanda at Bare Bones Living, she may or may not be here. I booked her probably 5 or 6 weeks ago, but they were planning to be moving right around now. And I think they are moving. She hasn't put up any videos in a couple of weeks, and I don't think they have internet right now. So we'll see how that goes. She may get rescheduled to another day. If that's the case, I may air the virtual interview I did with Dawn Ray B. I'm still editing that because there was no sound for my half of the screen. So I'm just getting creative with how to pose the questions so that you know what I asked that will correspond with her answers. So for sure, Adam, next week, first guest of the day. And then the last Friday of October, my friend Dino at the Late Late Horror Show has blessed me with agreeing to be my guest that day. So I'll only have that one guest for that day. I'm going to keep encouraging you guys to come and hang out with us there. It's just really the most wonderful chat. It's the warmest place, and we have a wonderful time listening to these classic old radio shows while we just hang out and have fun together. Week after that, we'll have Jen from Good Times Homestead and Nancy from Our Treasured Home on the show. So that's the first Friday in November. Fat Ninja DM will be my guest then the following Friday, the 11th. And then Peter Tragos from Lawyer You Know here on YouTube will be my guest on the 18th of November. I don't think he'll have the whole show to spend with us, but we're going to pick his brain as long as we can keep him on the air that day. And then my new YouTube friend, Steven at Papa's Kitchen, will be my guest that last Friday in November. So as always, if you guys are interested in being on the show and being interviewed, and you'd like to get yourself a little more exposure and let people meet you, send me an email and let's talk about some dates. And I just want to remind you again how touched I am every time anybody shows up for a live stream. I love that. Hello, Lee at First Floor Audio. How are you? Again, I appreciate all of you. I do want to remind everyone about the 12 Days of Halloween that starts on Thursday next week. So we will have movie nights for everyone to enjoy. I did my spinning of the movie wheel live yesterday. So dates and titles are set. You can go to my community tab to get the details on that. Richard will be helping me with that, I think, just because there are also other things that happen on some of the nights where I'm going to kind of be in two places at once. And then we do have to factor in the earlier dark hours because I've got to get the flock put away some time in the middle of everything that tends to be happening right around the time the flock needs to be put up every night. But again, thank you all for being here. Thanks for supporting the creators that have been on the show already. You know, I love watching their numbers go up. So I hope when we get together next Friday, we'll see some growth for John and Dr. Lund. And just be blessed, everyone, and love to all from RichKatRanch. I'll see you in the next video.